If you have a Polaris Pro R, then you need to know how to inspect your belt. This should be done every 50 hours of use, 1,000 miles, or 12 months, whichever comes first. And the process is going to be similar for your 2 and your 4-seaters. So stick around and we're going to show you how to get this done. To do this job, we just need a few common hand tools. So we have a 10mm socket, T25 and T40 Torx bits. You also need a belt removal tool. Now this one is from Tusk. It's the T-handle and it's easy to use, but your machine should come with a removal tool if that's what you want to use. Now other than that, we have a 12-inch extension, which helps us a lot, and we'll show you more about that later on. And we also have a belt. This one's a spare. You don't necessarily need to replace the belt every time, but when you're in there, you want to make sure you have something you can replace it. Now, other than that, we have contact cleaner, some rags, and safety glasses. And you also want to refer to your model specific service manual throughout the process. First, you need to remove your seats. So on the 4-seater, you have a latch behind the headrests. Now on the 2-seaters, you have a latch beneath the seat. Now you need to remove this upper panel, and you've got 4 clips holding it in place. You're just gonna turn those a quarter turn counterclockwise. They pop right out and you can pull the panel up and out of the cab. Now for the lower panel, you've got 2 of those same tabs and it's gonna pull right out. We've got a really tight space to remove this cover, so we're also gonna remove the gas tank cover, and we're going to use a T25 Torx bit along with a T40 to remove 1 bolt at the bottom and then 2 on top. Now our manual doesn't tell us to take this piece out, but it's going to make the job a lot easier. Now that we have access to the belt cover, we need to disconnect this hose. So we've just got a wing nut style clamp on there. Now we need to remove 5 bolts going across the cover with a 10mm socket. And then I'm going to release the remaining quarter turn latches all the way across the bottom. And now we can remove the belt cover. Now we need a tool for the driven clutch. So the machine comes with one right here in the belt cover, but I actually like this T-handle style from Tusk. There's a threaded hole in the secondary clutch right here. And I'm just going to thread that T-handle in there and separate the sheaves. Now before I remove the belt, if you are going to reuse this belt for any reason, you want to make sure you pay attention to the orientation. Typically a belt is installed so you can read it if you're looking down at the top. So we can read ours, and sometimes you're going to notice there's arrows. So in either case, make sure you pay attention to that. And we're going to take this the rest of the way off and inspect it. Now to inspect the belt, there's a few different things you're going to be looking for. Number 1, any signs of obvious visible damage, whether it's cords that are sticking out, maybe you have missing cogs, or even cracks down in between the cogs. If any of those conditions exist, you want to replace it. Now you also want to check the belt for uneven wear. So sometimes they refer to this as hourglassing. If there's any uneven wear, again, you want to replace it. Now the last check you can make is the actual belt width. If there's very much difference between the new one and the used one that's on your machine, then you definitely want to get the new one installed. Now before we reinstall the belt, we're going to inspect our clutches. Now a couple basic things to look for are, number 1, if you had a belt come apart, you're going to want to make sure all of the pieces are out and you get this cleaned up really well, especially around the inlet and outlet ducts. And besides that, we're going to blow this off, make sure any dust and debris is out of here and get them as clean as possible. You also want to inspect the sheaves and just take a look at them. Sometimes you can feel a groove wearing in, and if you have grooves in here, you're definitely going to want to get that repaired or replaced. And with that being said, last thing you want to look for is any glazing. So if you see any shiny or dark spots on here, you can remove those dark spots with some Scotch-Brite. Just make sure you don't get any pieces of the Scotch-Brite stuck in your clutch or anything like that. You want to clean it out really good with a rag. Now, If you need to know how to do more detailed inspections, you definitely want to check out our How to Inspect a Clutch on a Polaris RZR video. But from here, we're going to go ahead and clean this up and reinstall our belt. Now we can reinstall our belt, and we're going to install it the same way we removed it, again paying attention to the orientation. And for the last little section, you just need to rotate that driven clutch and you're going to walk it in place. Once it's in place, you want to remove that tool that spreads the sheaves, and then you need to rotate the driven clutch about 7 times just to make sure the belt works all the way out to the edge of the clutch. From here, we just need to reassemble everything in the reverse order that we took things off. Just make sure on the cover, you want to make sure the 180-degree tabs are securely in place and fully latched. And then keep in mind, underneath that heat shield, you've got that spacer. Once you've done that, you can reinstall your access panel and your seats. So that's all it takes to inspect and replace your belt on your Polaris Pro R. If you need a new one, they're available on our website, so go check that out. And if you are replacing your belt, make sure you break it in. So standard break-in is taking it easy on your belt the first 50 miles, or if you're at the sand dunes, they want you to run it in high gear for at least 5 miles and take it easy. Now, with that being said, you want to refer to your manual for more detailed instructions on that. Now, if you want to see more helpful content like this or maintenance videos for your Pro R, make sure you check out our channel and subscribe. I'm Charles with Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Thanks for watching.